All right, we are back for another episode of our podcast, Deals A to Z. And today, Jeff Braylio and myself, Yoshi Shiraki, have a very special guest, Joseph Adjei. Did I say that correct?
You did.
Joseph, good. Thank you. And thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you sharing your story with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here and talk about what I've been doing and what I've learned so far.
Great. Well,
I'm noticing a bit of an African accent.
Yes.
Are you an immigrant from Africa?
I am. So I came to Utah about 11 years ago to attend BYU. I'm originally from Ghana. So I came to BYU, did school and got a job here. And now this is home. I have a family with 2 kids and yeah.
Awesome. Well, welcome. We're glad to have you.
Jeff, I thought it was a Provo accent. So I was.
Oh, that Provo accent.
That Provo accent.
The accent.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Joseph, if you don't mind, would you mind sharing with us a little bit about how you got started in real estate and what you're kind of doing today?
Yeah. So, I got started in real estate when one of my buddies from college, so we both went to BYU. We both got jobs in the financial industry. And then, I connect with him after a year and he's quit his job and he's doing real estate full time. So I start asking him questions, what is going on here and there. And 6 months later, his wife also quits her job and is doing real estate full time. And once I saw those 2 things, I'm like, you know what, there's nothing different from my buddy and and so I should be listening and kind of start doing what they are doing. And so at that point, we had a home. We bought a home in 2018, just a primary residence to live in. And the easiest way to get into real estate is to convert your current home into a rental. So that's what we did. We went under contract. Yeah, we went under contract for a new construction and we converted our current home into a rental, and we've been just buy and hold real estate since then.
Have you done that same method where you buy as owner occupied first and then turn to rental?
Yep, that's been the strategy till now. Yeah.
That is fantastic. So
we've gotten really good about packing and moving.
When I was in college, I had really good friends, and one of my friends' dad was a builder. And I remember her telling me that she had lived in like 18 different homes growing up because her dad would build, they'd live in it a year, then either turn it into a rental or sell it. And I just thought, what a crazy life to keep your kids moving all the time. But now that I'm a real estate investor, I'm like, holy cow, how smart was all that?
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm sure there's things that you've probably gotten used to that you don't use and you just don't even unpack anymore.
Oh yeah, I guess I can get into it. One of our strategies is we like to rent by the room, right? So when we move, instead of renting to a family, we rent by the room. So a lot of our furniture we have to live at the house, right? Because we have to furnish the living space. Yes. We don't move our washer and dryer. So I'm not actually student housing. We're renting to professionals.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, tell me more about
professionals that are renting.
That's really interesting. How are you finding tenants?
So we basically when we thought about it, so our first area was in Lehigh, right? And we looked at property rents in Lehigh, and we saw that we could rent our townhome at that point for probably $1,650 or $1,700, and that would be only $50 on this after we've paid mortgage and HOA, right? Not even talking about accounting for other stuff. And so when we looked at that model, we were like, you know what, this is not why we want to do real estate. We want to get something more than that. And so we started to do some research, and we saw that, you know what, there are a lot of professionals who are in that Lehigh area or even around Wasatch Front that are not really interested in establishing strong roots. Right, they are here in Utah for a tech job or working in healthcare. Exactly, where you know what, they don't want to rent a 1-bedroom and pay $1,300. They want a $700 room that they can sleep at night and hang out with friends. So when we saw that model, we thought that we could use that approach to basically increase our cash flow. So all our rentals, we have working professionals, hairstylists, other people that are just professionals living there, and it's worked really well for us.
And I had a student rental property up down at BYU. In fact, it was a cash cow.
Oh yeah.
I was cash flowing $1,500 a month.
Wow.
On one property. It was a duplex, so then I had a total of 9 students in there. And students are a unique problem.
I'm sure,
yeah. So I'm curious on your professional room by room. Does it seem to work like any other rental where there's not a lot? I mean, do these guys come in at once, or do they not know each other when they rent?
Yeah, so they don't know each other when they rent, right? So when we move out and we are renting for the first time, we will encourage people, if you have a friend, bring a friend. But really, it's 4 strangers. Typically, we have 4 bedrooms, so it's 4 strangers that are living in the house. And I'm sure a lot of people listening might start having questions go on, but it's really worked well for us, and for various reasons, right? So here's the case where, in my opinion, right, if you have a family that is living in a place, they get comfortable with each other, right? Something breaks, they're like, oh, you know what, we'll tell the landlord later. But when you have 4 strangers living with each other, even if somebody leaves a bowl in the sink for over a day, somebody's talking about it, right? So from that perspective, it keeps your properties really clean and nice. When something happens, you hear about it right away. And so that was one reason really that attracted us to that approach. And then the second reason will be for vacancies, right? I'm sure you guys know that vacancy is the biggest cash flow killer. Yeah. And so here's the case. If I have 4 people that are living in a place, chances are all 4 people are not going to move out at the same time.
Right.
And so I'm able to really, even if I have vacancies, I don't have to come out of pockets to cover the mortgage. It's my profits essentially that is going for that month, because I have a $500 bedroom or a $700 bedroom that is vacant for a number of years. So those are the main reasons really that we like that approach.
Very nice.
And this has kind of been on a beginner. We're gonna have Joseph back, and we're gonna talk more about that.
I agree.
You're increasing cash flow by renting room by room to professionals. So this isn't. People think of that in student housing all the time. I mean, that's very common to go into student areas and do it that. Yeah, but on a professional basis, that's really interesting.
I agree.
And I'd like to spend more time hearing your experience. But let's get back to what was your initial, just you saw your friend and he was doing I can do this too. Was it hey, that sounds really interesting, like an interesting career, or hey, there's a way to make extra money? What was it that kind of made you want to go down the road?
Yeah, I mean, it's financial independence, right? So I saw that, I'm like, this is a way that I can increase my net worth and be able to retire early, right? So, I mean, I work for an investment bank in Salt Lake, and we work long hours, right? And when I looked at the corporate ladder, I'm like, you know what? Even the managing directors are working 16-hour days. So what is there to look up to, right? And so I wanted to make a lot of money without having to spend a lot of time away from the house.
Perfect. Right. Passive income. Love it.
Absolutely.
And how many rentals do you have now, do you say?
So right now we have 3 properties. So we have 2 rentals and the place that we are living right now, our primary residence that we are planning to move by the end of this year.
Nice. Perfect. And so you bought them with an eye that you were going to turn it into a rental.
Yeah.
Did you have a mentor that helped you maybe, price things out and what budgets and what it might be? Did you read books? Did you watch DIY programs on TV? How did you kind of learn to get started?
Yeah, I mean, it was all my buddy, right? And I'm going to give him a shout out soon. I mean,
give him a shout
I'm
out.
sure you guys know him. It's Aaron Havens. He's part of the Renatas group, and he's the one who basically I attached myself to him like a leech, learning everything that he's learned. And he was really generous in sharing with me. But yeah, he's my buddy. I run deals by him, he runs stuff by us. He likes the way I think, I like the way he thinks. So in terms of like my wife is my other partner, right? Like, so my wife and I chose the neighborhood that we wanted, right? Like there are a few places that we want to rent, because appreciation is really important to us. As I talked about, I want to increase my net worth. Well, I mean, cash flow is great, but that builds over time. But appreciation can also, help us accelerate how quickly we can retire. So we have some neighborhoods that we pick, and we have, some price points that we are interested in. And the reason why we have neighborhoods that we pick is the approach that I was just describing. Not every city allows, multiple strangers renting a room, right? Sure. So you have to look at the city code and see what is the definition of a family. So there are a few areas like, Lehigh, Vineyard, that have good definition of a family, where you can have up to 4 unrelated people living in a house, and it's considered as a family. So those are the criteria that we look at to determine where we want to invest in.
Very good point. And I ran into, because most people, all cities have their zoning regulations. And it's very common for cities to say no more than X number of unrelated people in a house. It's typically 3. And that can become a problem. So good research in advance to know that you can use the property the way you want to use it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that goes a lot into where we buy and what we buy.
Perfect.
Very cool. What's Joseph, is there a goal to duplicate what your friend did, in that he got to quit his job? Are you on that path as well? And then going full-time into real estate?
I want to go full-time into real estate at some point, but I also like my job. I like my day job. I am doing really well in my day job, and it's paying me well. So I think for me, I'm going to try and use that to accelerate, what I can do quickly in terms of acquiring properties. And then when I get to the point where I feel like I have that cash flow number that could essentially replace my income or something, I'll be willing to quit. The other thing too is my wife is going through school right now. And so maybe in the next 2 years, when she graduates and gets a full-time job that is bringing some income, that would get me to the point where I'm like, okay, let me start focusing on real estate full-time. But yeah, at this time, I'm just going to try and do both as much as I can.
And you're blessed in that you like what you do, so that's great.
Yeah, that is important. As long as you like what you do, that's great.
Yeah.
Do you self-manage those rentals, or do you have a third-party manager?
I'm self-managing right now, because when I quit my job, like when I do full-time real estate, I want to be a property manager. I also want to sell, be a realtor. So I want to learn the business whilst I have my own deals, so that it can allow me to be able to get out of it. Like going back to Aaron, for instance, Aaron's strategy was, buying in vacation areas, right? And doing Airbnb. Yeah. And so whilst we were living in Lehigh, even before we bought a property to rent, we were doing Airbnb in our basements. And I think doing Airbnb and dealing with that kind of clientele teaches you a certain level of management or working with tenants, which I have come to, it's a pain, but I've come to enjoy. If you do it right, it definitely can pay dividends. So
I
absolutely.
Hate it.
I'm sure at some point.
I'm a softie. I'm a softie. You're like, oh, we can't make rent. Can we get it to you in a couple of days? Oh, sure, no problem. Yeah. I learned very early on that I don't have the skills to be a property manager. So good on you.
Yeah. Jeff, I don't know if I can make my payment to you this month. Is that okay if I just...
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, don't worry about it. Buy me Wendy's and we'll be good.
Okay, good.
We should all go rents from Jeff.
Very cool. So are you also looking to entertain, you just mentioned that you want to become a real estate agent as well. Are you also entertaining the idea, maybe you already do, maybe fixing and flipping or wholesaling or anything like that?
Yeah. So, I mean, we are, right? I want to be able to explore that and do so. Currently, the house that we are living in right now, I call it my long-term flip. We bought it under market value when we are doing a live-in flip. And you know what? We just got it we got it for $300K. we just got it appraised subject to the renovation, and it came up to about 450. And
Nice.
so that can allow us to, get some money that we can then, maybe I can use that money to partner on somebody's flip deal,
Yeah.
or, use it to do my own flip, or use it to buy more buy and holds. I don't know yet, but and that's something that I'm really interested in as well.
Got
A
it.
lot of people don't utilize the equity in their homes with like a HELOC.
Yeah.
Which
Absolutely.
can provide the cash to do renovations on a flip project and not have to
Exactly.
borrow it, and HELOCs are usually pretty cheap, certainly cheaper than hard money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And increase.
And especially now, right? If you can, get a good HELOC at a good rates. I mean, it's variable, but yeah, I think
Right.
it will be good use of money. Yeah.
Definitely. So outside of your friend Aaron, being a mentor, do you also go to any particular places for education, whether it's online or courses that you take or anything like that?
Yeah. So, I mean, podcasts, Bigger Pockets is one huge one. A lot of Facebook groups, reading books. I'm not a big reader, but I've read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I've read other things just to get my mindset there. But I also besides this, right? I think there's a lot of opportunity in community, right? So I am part of some of the REIs in in the valley, but also I started my own real estate meetup, because when my friends saw what I was doing, they started asking me questions. And instead of being on the phone every night for like 30 minutes with another friend talking about real estate, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to set up a Zoom meeting Wednesdays at 7:00.
Yes.
If you want to learn what I'm doing, join, and I'll tell you what I'm doing. And I also would invite some of the people that have helped me along the way to come talk and teach, so that we can all learn together. So I'm hoping that by surrounding myself with a good community, they can also keep me motivated and going.
Absolutely.
But also kind of become accountability partners down the road.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Accountability partners. You sound like a Tony Robbins person.
Yes. Motivational.
Accountability, motivation, mindset, accountability. So that's great. You seriously, you created your own group. I
know that's impressive. Which RIAs in the area did you say you're a part of?
So I think it's I forget, but like the Utah RIA, I get a text message about their meeting every time. And then there are a couple, Utah Valley, yeah.
Really? Good.
Yeah.
Yoshi and I are part of Utah Valley Real Estate Investors Association.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I think I joined one of your sessions where you talked about, Jeff, you talked about, not short sale, what is it called? Seller financing, where you went through all the things about seller financing. So yeah, I try to get, as much free content as I can get around and continuing to learn and give back. And I think I'm on several, wholesalers list as well. And I think there's one of them that they do a meetup in a restaurant in Murray. I forget the name of the place.
At Mimi's?
Mimi's, yeah, Mimi's Cafe. Yeah,
that's the wholesaling meetup with Jeff.
The wholesaling meet. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's right. Are they meeting live now?
I think they're back at the restaurant live. I think.
Oh,
maybe. I don't know.
I was talking. I haven't heard anything. I was talking more about pre-COVID. I think I went to one of the meetings in 2019. Yeah.
Eventually, we're all gonna have to say things pre-COVID, post-COVID.
Yeah. Exactly.
Life's totally different.
Exactly. So Joseph, do you have any advice then for somebody who, has been thinking about getting involved in real estate? They too like their 9 to 5, just like you. They're happy where they are, but they know they want more because they see that up the ladder is still 16-hour days, and so they've got to do something different. What kind of advice do you have that you could share with somebody who's on that fence debating, man, should I do this? Should I not do this? It's so risky. What is the market going to do? Coronavirus is going to this, it's going to that. What would you say?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I'm giving you another person that I'm like, I'm a Warren Buffett guy, right?
Okay.
Invest for the long term. Don't worry about what is happening today. What is like, if real estate is something that you want to do, you see yourself doing, you want to own some rentals, then buy something. For me, I started working as a full-time employee in 2015. And I didn't buy. At that point, I thought the market was too high. I didn't buy till 2018. And I regret those 3 years, right? Like that could have doubled, the value of some of the properties that I bought. So I've learned that, time is your friend in this game, right?
Yeah.
Do your research, but take action. I think that's the biggest advice I can give anybody. Do your research, find what markets, what strategy, what property type you are comfortable with, but take action and just, wait for a while, and you'll be happy you did it.
I love what you just said. It's a long-term game. Warren Buffett says, a lot of people say it, if you don't sell, you don't lose. So even if the market goes down, who cares? Because you're going to hold it anyway. It's going to go back up.
Exactly.
So there's nothing to be afraid of, hypothetically, essentially, right? Unless you're going to panic and sell when it's down here, then that's when people lose.
Yeah. Don't ever panic.
Don't ever panic.
Yep. You never make good decisions in a panic, ever.
Yeah.
Or on too little sleep.
Yes.
Wasn't it Warren Buffett? I can't remember, somebody when they were asked, when is a good time to invest in real estate? And they said 20 years ago and today. Who was that Warren Buffett?
I think it was.
It sounds like a Warren quote.
It does sound like Warren Buffett, but it's a true statement, right? I mean, we always say, I should have invested 20. No, but today's today. And in 20 years, today will be 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah, invest today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very cool. Joseph, I love this story of you just, wanting to take action, buying your first one, coming up with this niche that, again, like Jeff said, we're going to invite you back because I want to get more info on this niche.
Yeah.
For sure.
Very creative niche that you are now renting these by rooms, increasing your cash flow dramatically. Brilliant, as the English would say, brilliant. So yes, very cool. Jeff, do you have any last questions for Joseph?
No, just a big thank you for being on our show.
Absolutely.
Thank you all for the opportunity, for the invites. I really appreciate it. And definitely I'd like to come back and talk more about what is going well and what I've learned since now.
Definitely. And Joseph, if there's anything that Jeff or I can be of help to you,
always,
please feel free to reach out anytime.
We'll do. I appreciate it.
Wonderful. Well, excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing those experiences. Absolutely brilliant.
Thanks, everybody. And join us on our next episode of Deals A to Z.